Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sun.
All right, we are here talking about episode 4 of The Last of Us, which just wrapped a little over half an hour ago. Thanks for joining us live for this thing. Sorry we couldn't do last week's absolute heart mulcher of an episode. Your boy had food poisoning, but man.
Mike, stop going outside. You're not allowed
Seriously,
outside.
You can't catch a break. I can't catch a break in 2023. But COVID and food poisoning within the first month. And then right off the bat, just while I'm thinking about it, if you didn't see the preview for next week, or you haven't been on Twitter yet, the next episode of the show, episode 5, is going to be on Friday, not Sunday, because of the Super Bowl. So this coming
The
Friday,
Superb Bowl, the Superb Owl. We can't say the other word. We don't want to be in trouble with the NFL. The Superb Owl.
Let them come take all the ad revenue that we're not getting.
Right.
So February 10th is when the next episode of The Last of Us is airing. We will figure out our plans over the course of this week, because that throws a wrench in some things. But anyway, we're here to talk about this week's episode 4. What'd you think, Sol?
I really, really enjoyed it. It's another banger of an episode. This season, this show so far has not missed at all. And I mean, definitely less tears than last week.
I don't have any left.
Right. But we still get some cool developments that I really want to know what, like, the game people who actually play the game, like, I kind of want to talk to them about it, but then I also don't want to be spoiled. So
it's a tough rope to walk,
right.
Especially because, having not played the game, but knowing that last week's episode with Bill and Frank was a complete departure from the game. They're supposed to be around a bit and see and meet Ellie and interact with her. Well, that's not going to happen. And I like what the developers of the show said, which is, we're not going to do a complete adaptation that's boring. We're going to try and do something, some other stuff with it. I'm glad they did. Last episode was amazing. So there is that question of how much of this takes place in the actual game. I actually feel like the inclusion of them having the truck and traveling all this distance is a great way to get over some factors of the game you might have, where in the game, they probably were doing that whole trip on foot, so that while you're playing the game, you can collect power-ups and fight zombies and fight raiders and things like that. In the show, it's like,
get some more guns,
get some more ammo, go collect. In the show, guys, we got 10 episodes. We can't have them walk the whole time. This isn't the Lord of the Rings. Like, if they can get the truck,
we can't have him picking up ammo at every few blocks.
Right? No, we can't have him get to the set save point and rest to regen his health. So having the truck there is a way for them to just travel all this distance and kind of just cut out that middleman. Assuming that's not in the game, it might be, but I'm assuming.
What if there is a truck in the game and you're just talking out of your ass right now?
That could very well be. I don't know. But to me, as thinking like how I would approach adapting a game into this, and just knowing what I know from video games, it's like, this feels like a device to move us the hell along, to get to the meaty parts of the story, which does not take long in this episode. But speaking of meaty parts, come on, look, 20 years you've been living in the apocalypse. A can of Chef Boyardee ravioli would taste like a gourmet banquet. And frankly, even right now in present 2023, there's still nothing wrong with canned ravioli. That shit's delicious.
Ravioli, bring me the funnioli.
But
But
very well done. Yeah.
yeah, when what is this? Go Chef Boyardee. Go. He knows his shit. Be like, actually, I agree. It was like it was one of. I think that was actually the real moment between them where they started to become kind of friends. There
Yeah.
is over a can of Chef Boyardee.
A can of Chef Boyardee and a book of dad jokes.
Right. I mean,
Just
he is Papa Pedro. Like
he is.
he likes good dad joke here and there. Like he's basically a father across all universes.
And every time she told one, that chipped away just a little more. Because
Yeah.
the first time he hears one, he's like, "What the fuck?" But then every time he
You
saw
can
it
go
again,
wait in the car.
go wait in the car. You see a little bit more of a
Mhm.
smile creeping through until finally we just had him just say, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," and just laugh. Because there's nothing quite like a good poop joke in the middle of the night at a sleepover to help you laugh yourself to sleep.
And our friend Alan Smithy there in the chat is yelling out, "Kids with guns."
Shout out to the Gorillas, great song. It is. Yeah, I wasn't sure we were gonna see her pull the gun out
Mhm.
quite this soon. I thought it would be another episode or two
Yeah.
before she would have that happen. What's more intriguing is that wasn't the first time she'd shot somebody.
Yeah.
I
I'm like, my mind is over here going, when when she got bit, she was in that mall. That's what they said. And Tess asked her, "Are you alone? Were you alone?" And she said yes. And the way she said yes, I don't believe her at all.
not
So
one
I
bit.
feel like her friend got bit and she had to shoot her friend,
Yeah.
whoever was like with her, like because she probably went in with like a friend to the mall. So that's my assumption. But again, I've never played the game, so I was thinking, oh, are we gonna see that like a flashback of you like having to kill like someone? Because
Yeah.
that would be sad.
Well, we know Ellie's a lesbian, and we know that they've hinted at that a couple times in the show. When
Mm.
Tess was having that conversation where she was like, "Was it friend, brother, sister, boyfriend?" And she was like, "Definitely wasn't a boyfriend." And like,
Mm.
you can interpret from that
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
will. And then plus the scene of the truck we had at the beginning,
yeah.
where she's just like, "I want to see what the big deal is about." Like, that's such a good
Why
moment.
is it sticky?
Why is it sticky? So that makes me wonder if it was like a girlfriend or something like that, like someone
Yeah.
he was in love with, and that'll that'll fuck you up. I mean,
Are you ready to cry some more, Mike?
I've just kind of gone into anticipating it every week at this point. Like I had the tissues next to me just in case.
Mm.
But also I'm at the point now where I'm like, well, the only people we had currently, I wasn't sure we were going to cry today because the only people we had were Ellie and Joel. And I know they're
Mhm.
making it to the end. We
Right.
didn't have a test to lose. So unless we were doing a whole other plot deviation about another greatest love story ever told, about another
What if
couple,
that was every week?
every week it's another couple's love story in the apocalypse. I don't have it in me. I really
I
don't.
mean, I honestly wouldn't hate that as an anthology. Like
No,
a
like
love stories in the apocalypse.
it would be no, I would watch the shit out of that, but I need a but like I'm glad this show is only once a week because I can only handle so much. This was a very action and suspense heavy episode.
Mhm. Yeah.
We're seeing some more about what the rest of the world outside
Mhm.
of our original QZ is like.
Now we're in Kansas City.
And their QC is overrun with some kind of freedom fighter rebellion type
Yeah.
thing.
I the way like I interpreted it, and I also watched like at the end when they were talking about the episode. Um, so it was a QZ, and then I guess they're not the Fireflies because Joel makes a point to say that they're not Fedra and they're not Fireflies. So there's some other organization, some other revolutionary organization, and they made a point to say like when oppressive regimes are taken over by revolutionary forces, sometimes those forces become just as bad as those oppressive
Mhm.
regimes. And I love that we're seeing that because I was just like, oh, just like cough, cough, Cuba, cough. So I was like, yeah, no, we've seen that in history a lot. Be like, And I really like that we're going deeper into that. And it seems like in the when they're talking about the episode at the end, that that's not something that is explored that much in the game. Like they exist, but you don't really know where they came from or why they are doing what they're doing. So what's cool about an adaptation in a show like this is you can actually see stuff like that, and like those kind of things do matter because it's
Yeah.
parallel to real life.
Well, and since last week was already such a huge deviation from the story of the game, that kind of throws away any expectations you might have, because any
Mm,
expectations someone might have about where the story's going next, now you kind of lose some of that predictability, which again I think is kind of the marker of good storytelling, because if it's too predictable, it becomes boring. Uh,
yeah.
I know that we saw at one point a carrier truck with like "We the People" sprayed across it,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously stems from what's in the preamble of the Constitution.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's probably something they've taken to this nth degree with this group.
Yeah.
Currently being led by Kathleen, who is played by Melanie Linsky from Two and a Half Men. Which is it's and I know she's done other things. Like don't at me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work in TV, so that's what I know her from. We ran Two and a Half Men reruns. Different kind of role for her. She's usually very kind of sweet and funny and silly, and this is a very intense role. I mean,
Boss ass bitch.
yeah. But there is something not right about her for a couple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
The way that she is, the way that she seems to be kind of leading these people in an almost cult-like fashion, like
Yeah.
seeing one thing but saying we tell everybody else that this is what happened and we're going to get them to rally around us. But also her second in command are hiding something beneath the floor. I have the same question as Alan Smithy here.
Yeah.
What is under that floor?
Hey, just looking at it too, she obviously like some terrible things happened to her or her family members where I believe like it was like her brother who was murdered by federal agents in that exact like location where she then murders her doctor who said that he like was the one who birthed her. So that's was kind of, and the fact too that we don't actually see him getting shot is kind of just like, so it really shows how like much she didn't care about killing him, kind of like the way it was shot like that. And the fact that she is so looking for, and at first you think they're looking for Joel and Ellie, but no, she's looking for someone else. And I want to know who these people are, why they're so important. It's obviously a father and a son, and you see like the kids drawing and stuff, and they're the ones I'm assuming at the end of the episode that have the gun on both Joel and Ellie. So it's like, why are you going after them so hard? Why are these two people so important? And then, yeah, there's something under those floorboards. I was like, is it like a super zombie or something? And you're like, I don't want to scare my people, so let's close off this because there's something underneath that floor, Alan Smithy, and I don't know what it is, and we probably will see it next episode, and it's probably going to be scary because this episode wasn't scary at all, so that was good for
No.
me. That was really good for me.
Don't get used to it.
I know. So I feel like next week's episode is gonna be extra scary.
Yeah, well, because this week was the palate cleanser. After
Mm-hmm.
we had the very heavy first two episodes that were zombie heavy and apocalypse heavy, and we had episode 3, which was emotion heavy, and this was a
Mm-hmm.
very I guess it's the palate cleanser episode. There's some jokes. Here's just some one-on-one excellent, well-paced character development. I mean, the episode itself is the shortest of the 4 so far. It's only 45 minutes, not including credits and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it was still very well paced. When the credits began rolling, I was like, oh, I didn't realize it had been 45 minutes already.
Yeah.
Um, so it was still well done. I am curious to see if this is going to be a situation where it's she's she thinks she's looking for one set of people. She's actually looking for Joel and Ellie and doesn't realize it. Is there going to be this mistaken intentions thing that happens where
Mm.
I can kind of see it going that way, because looking here in front of me, her character was created originally for this show. She is not from the
Okay.
game.
Okay.
So again, that's that idea of We might be creating a big deviation from the game.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going to end up feeling? I guess as people who haven't played the game, we know that the story of this game is what had people so invested, is what had people clamoring for years to get a show or movie of this story made. How far are we going to deviate from that already beloved storyline?
Mm-hmm.
And is what we're going to bring to the table going to be satisfying enough for those fans who are here from the game?
Hey, if
So
it's good, it's good. And so
yeah,
far, like to someone who hasn't played the game, it's really, really good. And I
yeah,
like you have to, even if you're like, oh man, it's not what I wanted, or it's not the exact game thing, you have to admit when like the storytelling is good, like
yeah,
or like the set designs or the way that like it's shot or things like those things are like just objectively
yeah.
good.
Like, how does this how does this story compare to the story of the game? I can't comment on that. All I can comment on is what I'm getting, and what I'm getting is very good.
Mm-hmm.
This is very good, excellent storytelling, great world building, amazing production design, top-notch acting. I mean, across the board, the only complaint I have about this episode, couldn't it be a little bit longer? But that's mostly
You
just
have that complaint all the time.
I do, and it's mostly because it's just like I just want more. Like I just want more of this.
We'll get more on Friday. You don't have to wait as long.
I know.
But
I love that I'm getting it early. I don't love what that does to my plans.
one thing too of building the world and just expanding a little bit, because you're seeing Joel and Ellie get closer and closer to each other, and just you see that with the dad jokes, but then also we get to learn a little bit more about Tommy. And I know we both were like, was it just Tommy or was it just Joel or was it both of them that went off to war? It seems like it was just Tommy.
Yeah.
And that Tommy is a joiner. And kind of the fact too, the way that Joel is equating the Fireflies to also the US Army and what the US Army did to Tommy and his mental state there. So that is really interesting to me, in the way that that Joel views the Fireflies. And you're seeing a little bit more of like what Joel had to do before he ever met Ellie, the that 20-year span that we jumped, that like how did you know that this guy was like didn't actually need help? Because Joel and Tess and Tommy were doing that too to other people. Like, did you kill innocent people? He didn't answer that question. You know that he did. And so Joel is not a good person, but we're rooting for him anyways in the story. And the way how you can construct a story like that, where you have someone that you know has murdered innocent people, and you still were like, yes, I want him to make it out alive and go forward and do great. Like that is some top-notch storytelling.
Well, not only that, but just the phrase like did you ever kill an innocent person? There's so many ways you can interpret his response to that. Like, did he do it on purpose? Was it an accident? Is he considering as a form of guilt the situation that happened with his daughter? Is he thinking like, I got my innocent daughter killed? Like, so many different ways you could interpret that and take that on.
Yeah.
And as we go on to learn more about what happened to him over the last 20 years versus over what Ellie's going to learn, versus what we already know that Ellie still has to know, how that's going to play out over the next 6 episodes. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Like, zombies are going to die. Cool. Awesome. Like, neat. That's neat. I'm so invested in Joel and Ellie that, like, if we don't get a lot of zombies in this, I'm not gonna be super angry because I'm enjoying what we're seeing.
Right.
I do want to see some zombies get their heads blown off, but that's just that's my primal brain kicking in a little bit there.
Hey, we got to see him kill some people here.
Yeah,
So
oof.
but
Oh,
to Smithy, I do enjoy your pun, sir. Next
Yeah.
Sunday is a superb owl day, so you'll have to watch Last of Us after your owl worshiping activity. Well, you can, but the episode's coming out Friday,
Yeah.
Mr. Smithy.
They're dropping the episode Friday.
But you can watch it again on Sunday after the owl worshiping.
If you have no intention of worshiping any owls on Sunday, I haven't decided yet. I probably will, mostly just because my uncle's I'm waiting for the text from my uncle saying I smoked a brisket, in which case I will be there. But he's got one of those like masterful Traeger smokers, like it's the best. Anyway, I'm hungry.
Hey, I want to go to back just the conversations of Ellie and Joel, where Ellie was saying, if you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on? And Joel kind of like, you keep going for family. Mm-hmm. And right now, he doesn't view Ellie as family. He views her as cargo. Mm-hmm. But we're going to see him start to view her as family.
Yeah, she's a means
family.
Family. Oh, the family. She's a means to an end.
Yeah.
All he knows is he gets her where she needs to go. Cool, do your cure thing, and then I can find my brother.
And he's doing it for Tess too, who he said Tess was as close as you can get to family. So you're seeing more the tragic, like, kind of love story of him and Tess, of Tess asking him in that second, saying to him in the second episode, going, I never asked you to love me the way I loved you or care about me. Yeah, feel the same way about me that I feel about you. But I think that he did. He just couldn't because it's the apocalypse. So
and we saw a hint of that in episode 3 in our flashback scene when they're having their lunch on the lawn. Bill and Frank, I love that moment. But when Joel is saying, when it's just Joel and Bill, and he's like, I wouldn't be so happy if my, and he paused, if mine did something like that. It's like even he just cannot figure out for himself, for whatever things are in his head and his heart that are keeping him at bay like that even he was just like, he couldn't even figure it out for himself what exactly Tess was to him.
The save Tess, like he knew, like he's equating Tess to Joel of what Frank was to him. Yeah. So like it's just like your gay BFF is noticing you gotta like wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah, which according to Ellie, it smells like burnt shit. So, but they were using that survivalist instant,
Oh, that gross ass coffee. I promise you, Ellie, coffee tastes way better than that.
Poor Ellie.
And Justin, mwah.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks so much. Yeah, poor Ellie, and even Joel. You can tell he's just kind of like, this is what I got. But I love.
Do you want me to be a human being? I'm gonna drink this shitty ass coffee
so I don't kill you. I love that. I can't. You're really gonna drink that? Yep.
I love kind of just the father-daughter kind of, because like she is really that like annoying kid.
Yeah.
But in a loving way, and he's really that like, with grown men, they can still be little kids sometimes. And so he's like, I'm going to be a little kid back to her with a...
Because you know what? She's his daughter's age. And...
When he lost her. Yeah.
When he lost her, and she, personality-wise...
Yeah.
Everything his daughter was. She is sassy. She's silly. She's going to give him just as much shit as he's going to give her. And that is hitting him from two different fronts. Because on the one hand, it's like, oh, man, this is the kind of goofing around I used to do with my daughter. Oh, my daughter. Like,
it's like, oh, man, this is the goofing I did with my daughter. Oh, man, this was the goofing I did with my daughter. Yeah.
Oh, it's just, and Pedro, again, it's a testament to Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
How well he's conveying that, because you can feel everything he's feeling on screen every time.
100%. 100.
So, episode ends with someone getting the drop on him. I don't know if it's the two that Melanie Linsky was looking for. It could be something different. We don't know a whole lot about this area we're in right now, other than it's inhabited by some not great culty rebellion people things.
It's Kansas City. I mean, who wants to be there? Sorry, Tushka.
Oh man, we're about to lose our StreamYard. Anyway, so it'll be curious to see what happens on the next episode, which again, if you're watching and you missed it at the beginning, the next episode is dropping on Friday due to a certain thing that is airing this coming Sunday that we're not going to say.
The owl worshipping of the superb owl.
Yeah, sure. So that is on Sunday. So that means that this week's episode, the new episode 5 of The Last of Us, will be on Friday. We are going to try to go live because we weren't anticipating that. And your boy has other commitments. So we will see. It'll either be me and Soul or Soul and somebody else is what it's going to come down to, because I got plans. Okay. I thought they were just going to pause a week, but this episode is crushing in viewership.
I thought they were just going to do it and be like, fuck the superb owl, we're going against it.
Oh no, like no one drops anything new on that Sunday any year ever. I figured that like a lot of like all the other networks and stuff, they were just gonna, hey guys, no new episodes this week, run a rerun, we'll pick it up next week, because everyone else is doing that. So I figured the HBO would just be like, we'll wait a week, it's fine, they're gonna come back. Like that, we know they're gonna come back. People are loving this show. But anyway, so we'll figure it out for Friday. But anyway, Saul, any last final thoughts on this episode?
Just like seeing the different types of governmental kind of things that we're getting throughout this show. There's a lot of different histories in real life of dictatorships and revolutions and oppressive governments and revolutionary forces. And so it's interesting to see that in a TV show. And that's one thing that I love about like fantasy sci-fi stuff, is you can have a show that's about fantastical elements but still shine a light on real world things. So I think The Last of Us is doing that really, really well. So I enjoyed that.
Something somebody pointed out to me about last week's episode, and I think I told you about this, was that when you consider that this apocalypse started in 2003, it was before gay marriage was ever made legal. And so the fact that episode 3 ends with these two wayward gay men who just found each other and ends with them getting married, they're probably the only married gay couple like for miles, for days, was so great. And someone told me that, I started crying instantly. So that kind of goes to your point of like, we're still showing like how this kind of just finds its way to still be a reality for some people. And we're finding out how everyone is creating a new normal in the zombie apocalypse. Because it's been they've had 20 years to figure it out. This isn't like, you know, Dawn of the Dead, where it's just starting. It's like, we've been living this for a while. Like, this is just the way the world is now. And I'm excited to learn more about this world. So we'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments, how you liked this episode. What are you looking forward to going forward, and where does it sit with you as far as having played the games versus watching the show? We love to hear all that stuff in the comments. So let us know. Like, subscribe, notification bell, Twitter stuff's in the description. I think that's everything. It's late. All the things. Just do all the things, guys. It's free. It's free. Seriously. There you go. Thanks for hanging out with us live, guys. We'll see you again Friday for the next episode of The Last of Us. See you guys later.